I am Misaki Sakurai. Today we will explore the fall of the Philippines during the World War II. But how did the Philippines fall? And what happened to the soldiers who fought to defend it? The fall of Manila and the shift to Bataan. Following the surprise attacks on Pearl Harbor and military base in the Philippines, the country faced a critical situation. To protect the Manila from destruction, it was declared an open city and cleared of military forces. At the same time, Manuel L. Quezon and his government moved to Corregidor. General Douglas MacArthur activated War Plan Orange, ordering USAF troops to withdraw to the Bataan Peninsula. On January 2, 1942, Japanese forces occupied Manila, while Filipino and American troops prepared to defend Bataan. The fall of Bataan. After months of fighting, the Battle of Bataan ended in April 1942. The soldiers defending Bataan were extremely weak from lack of food, medicine, and supplies. Many suffered from diseases such as malaria and dysentery. Earlier, President Franklin D. Roosevelt ordered General MacArthur to leave the Philippines and continued the fight from Australia. Before leaving, he made his famous promise,
I shall return.
Command of the remaining forces was given to Jonathan Wainwright, while Edward P. King led the troops in Bataan. On April 3, Japanese forces launched their final attack. The exhausted defenders could no longer hold their positions. On April 9, 1942, General King surrendered the Bataan forces to prevent further loss of life. From Corregidor, a radio message announced,
Good evening, everyone, everywhere. This is the Voice of Freedom, broadcasting from somewhere in the Philippines. Bataan has fallen. The Philippine-American troops on this war-ravaged and blood-stained peninsula have laid down their arms. With help
In total, more than 66,000 of Filipino soldiers and over 10,000 American soldiers became prisoners of war. The Japanese military now faced a challenge of managing and transporting a large number of captured troops. The Bataan Death March. The Japanese were not prepared for the surrender of more than 76,000 prisoners. The captured soldiers were forced to march nearly 100 kilometers. The march began in Mariveles and Balanga and moved north toward San Fernando, Pampanga. Survivors were then packed into crowded cargo trains to Capas, Tarlac, where prisons camp were located. The prisoners were given very little food or water. Many were already weak from months of fighting. Survivors, including Lester Tenney, later described guards beating prisoners and taking their belongings. Anyone who fell behind was often bayoneted or shot. Some were forced to sit for hours in the hot sun without water. Despite the danger, many Filipino civilians secretly gave food and water to the prisoners along the way. By the end of the Death March, about 15,000 soldiers had died or escaped. The Bataan Death March remains one of the most tragic events of the World War II. The fall of Corregidor. After Bataan fell, Corregidor became the last stronghold of Filipino and American forces in the Philippines. For about a month, the island was heavily bombed by Japanese forces. On May 5, 1942, Japanese troops launched an attack and landed on the island. The defenders were outnumbered and exhausted after months of fighting. On May 6, 1942, General Jonathan Wainwright surrendered Corregidor, marking the end of organized resistance in the Philippines. Guerrilla resistance and liberation. Even after the surrender, many Filipino soldiers and civilians continued to fight through guerrilla warfare against Japanese forces. In 1944, the fight of the Philippines reached a turning point when General Douglas MacArthur returned with Allied forces.
This is the voice of freedom. General MacArthur speaking. People of the Philippines, I have returned. By the grace of Almighty God, our forces stand again on Philippine soil, soil consecrated in the blood of our two peoples.
The fall of Bataan and Corregidor was not the end of the fight. The bravery and sacrifice of Filipino soldiers and civilians kept the spirit of freedom alive and helped lead to the liberation of the Philippines.